OCBC Bank has revised downwards its forecast for the country's gross domestic product (GDP) from -2.4% to -4.8% after taking into consideration Malaysia's first quarter result, which was announced May 27, the worst ever quarterly result since the 1997 Asian financial crisis. OCBC's economist Selina Ling says the first quarter result shows that the crisis has hit home and adds that the Malaysian economy is expected to further contract, although not as severe as in Singapore, where the official forecast is -6 to 9% growth this year. Malaysia and Singapore are common because both countries are manufacturing export-oriented economies, she says, speaking to reporters after OCBC Economic and Treasury Seminar.
We do think that the manufacturing outlook, notwithstanding the stabilization in the PMIs, probably will remain weak for a good part of the rest of this year. Okay, the key really is how fast fiscal stimulus kicks in for the domestic economy.
The manufacturing sector accounts for 1/3 of the country's GDP, and investment in the sector has fallen sharply during the first 3 months of this year to 7.5 billion ringgit from 22.7 billion ringgit a year ago. Meanwhile, speaking on the global economy, Ling says that market participants are expecting a recovery soon. However, hard indicators such as retail sales, unemployment rate, exports and industrial production are still lagging behind, therefore suggesting a recovery may not materialize that soon.
There's hope for them to stabilize in the second half of this year because, after all, the US has been in recession for a good 2 years. Okay, and given that a lot of the governments around the world have front-loaded all the fiscal stimulus as well as the interest rate cuts, those would start to take effect. So we do think that there's a good chance that we'll see some form of stabilization, if not recovery, by end of the year towards the next year.
However, she adds the expected recovery would really depend on demand recovery by end consumer markets, especially in large economies like in the US and China.